Q&A day here. I'm Dennis Growling with BadAss Harmonica, and I'm going to be posting these Q&As mostly on the weekends here, and as I get more questions to post, I'm taking some directly from the website that I have answered, and I'll expand on them more here in video form, and welcome as many questions as you want to throw at me based on blues harmonica techniques, harmonica microphones, any of that stuff. One question I got asked again recently, I did address it on my website shortly, but it has to do with how to practice, and more specifically, do I practice amplified? Do I recommend players to practice amplified versus practicing acoustic? And here are my thoughts on this. All in all, I totally recommend practicing acoustic, not practicing with a mic and an amp. Why do I say that? Mainly because practicing with, especially with a bullet mic, or really any kind of mic if you're going for a particular type of sound, but especially with a bullet mic where there's still a lot of technique involved in just playing amplified. A big factor, you may not realize this if you're not used to playing amplified yet, a big factor is how you use your hands and how you use your technique with your hands, with your breath, shaping and cupping the hands around the microphone and all that. All that totally impacts the sound you get amplified. So if you're not used to playing amplified and you want to work on a good amplified sound, that is something to practice in and of itself. In general, I do not usually recommend practicing amplified because there's really no need to, aside from if you're practicing and jamming with other people, then that's a totally different scenario, or you just want to get used to an amp. Again, that's another scenario, but just practicing in general, there's really no need to. I always found that it was best to practice acoustic, one, to hear your sound and your technique without any distractions or coloring it or making it sound cool and distorted and fat with the amplifier. You want to really know what you sound like acoustically, because ultimately you want to be happy with your acoustic sound, tone, techniques, all of that. So I always recommend practicing acoustic. That's why all the jam tracks that I make and sell and make available on my website are acoustic, because that's really how I feel is the best way to practice. Again though, keep in mind, it is good to practice amplified harmonica technique if you're not used to, or if you're still getting used to playing with a bullet microphone. And there's a lot of magic that can happen in your hands with a bullet mic, with a great sounding microphone. And if you have really good technique and you learn how to use your hands in many different ways, coupled with your technique and your breath and all of that, a lot of great things can happen. But that is a separate type of technique and playing in and of itself. One thing I did recommend if you want to get better at amplified playing and with your amplified playing technique is to work with a mug. I used to teach years ago workshops, all kind of jam camps and workshops and seminars and stuff, and one of the first things I used to teach that I found out on my own that made it easier was practicing with a coffee mug. Make sure there's no coffee in the mug. Because the coffee mugs are a little wider than a bullet mic, it makes it a lot easier once you go to a bullet microphone to get that cup, because it's really about how you're manipulating the seal around the microphone with your hands and a harmonica and all of that. So I do wholeheartedly recommend normal practice time, practice acoustic. You don't want any other distractions. You don't want to worry about the amp, how loud it is, how soft it is. I'm not getting the breakup that I want. Don't worry about those distractions. When you're practicing and trying to get better technique, better ears, better your playing, learn licks, learn riffs, learn songs, all that, do it acoustic. No other distractions. You can really hear what you sound like and what you truly are doing. And then after that, making it amplified, once you have good amplified technique, really makes it that much better and stronger when you go amplified. Alright, keep the questions coming in here for BadAss Harmonica. I'll see you on the next Q&A day.